Your body is not going to lie to you. Leave that man alone that's triggering your nervous system. I'm going to say it again. Leave that man alone that's triggering your nervous system. Your body will not lie. If you are having anxiety and panic attacks in or out of his presence, that man is not for you. I don't care what boxes he checks. I don't care how good he looks, how much money he makes. He is not for you. Your body is going to give you physiological signs to let you know what is safe for you and what is not safe for you. Heed to the messages your nervous system is trying to give you. So, if you're new here, my name is Mikki Bey. I'm an emotional regulation coach for high achieving women who want calm over chaos. Listen, the first thing that you have to understand is that there are always bells and whistles going off in your body. I can give you an example from my own life. So recently, I met a man. He checks all the boxes. He's fine. He's super successful. We're having a great time together. But when I'm away from him, my nervous system was causing me to have an extreme reaction. I'm talking about I can't sleep. I was really ruminating over like small things and nothing had happened. Nothing, he's done nothing wrong. All of our interactions have been pleasant. There hasn't been anything that I could like point to say there's something that he's done that's been disrespectful or any of that. Actually, quite the opposite. However, the fact that my nervous system is reacting this way lets me know this is not a person that I can call safe for me. I'm not going to ask no more questions other than that. Okay. I know that sometimes we want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I trust my body. I trust that if my body is sending me signals to the point where I am unable to sleep at night, that I need to heed to what my subconscious is trying to tell me about this interaction. So let's talk about it. What are some of the signals that your body can send you if you are in a relationship or even if you're just having a conversation with someone who is triggering your nervous system? So for me, this looks like holding my breath. The minute I start holding my breath, I know that there is something happening that is triggering for me. So if I'm in a conversation and all of a sudden I notice I'm like, something has happened that has triggered my nervous system. My go to is that when I realize there's a physiological issue going on inside of my body, that is a cue for me to get myself to safety so I can start the process of asking myself some really deep questions. What happened? What's going on? How are you feeling? What is the emotion you're feeling inside of your body? What are the physiological signs that are happening on the inside of my body? And then I will decide from there. Now, does this mean that I have to just ask the man and just be like, "Oh, I'm never going to speak to you again." No, but I need to continue to gather more data and more information to understand what my body is really trying to tell me. I do know that there is some strong reaction on the inside of me. Now, if you know anything about my work, I always say that your triggers are your responsibility. So this is not an issue for him to figure out. This is an issue for me to figure out. So I am taking this as such an opportunity for me to look at what the trigger is telling me. He's done nothing wrong. He's done nothing to me at all, but I am having an emotional response. So I'll tell you what came up for me. This person is someone who I would really like in my mind checks all my boxes, is someone that I would really like fantasize about dating. And here he is in the absolute flesh, taking me out and whining and dining me, and we're having a great time. But ultimately, I feel like my nervous system was freaking out because it was a fantasy and now it's reality. And so sometimes we don't realize that dysregulation can happen even when we're excited. So this dysregulation isn't necessarily because he is a dangerous person, but this dysregulation that's happening in my body is because there's somewhere on the inside of me where this interaction does not feel safe for me. That doesn't mean it's never going to feel safe for me, but right now it doesn't feel safe for my body. So my goal is to focus on my safety and my security. And that may mean pulling back a little bit. That may mean making sure that I'm not in the future, I'm staying present. One of my favorite sayings is tip of my nose. If it's not at the tip of my nose, it does not get my mind, meaning I'm not going to be ruminating about what me and this man could be. I'm not going to be planning our wedding in my head. I'm not going to be doing any of that. But the amount of time where I was in dysregulation because of the interaction that he and I were having, that was a lot of data and a lot of information that I can take back to myself and say, okay, what is it on the inside of me that doesn't feel completely comfortable in the presence of a man who I say that I want, the type of man that I say that I want? And so for me, it was really important, whether it's him or not, that I move that out of my nervous system, that I deal with the actual trigger of having someone who meets the criteria. I think so often we are having conversations about people who don't meet the criteria, and the dusties and the men who are not our flavor or cup of tea. But we don't talk much about when someone comes along who actually is our cup of tea, who actually is doing the right things and saying the right things. How our nervous system, because of past trauma, this is exactly what our nervous system is for and what our thoughts are for. Our thoughts are trying to go back through all of the times where this has happened, where somebody looked like they were the best thing since sliced bread and it turned out to be a dumpster fire. That is what my brain has been doing the entire time I've known this man. It has been trying to scan for danger. And that is something that I have to be very cognizant of. I want to stay rooted in reality and not judge him on past relationship failures or anything that has happened prior to him. So that is my work. I am so grateful and thankful that my nervous system gave me those physiological examples of where my dysregulation was happening so that I can put the emphasis back where it's supposed to be, which is on me. I have to work harder on myself than I work on anybody else, than I work on. I don't want to try to prove anything to him. I'm not having an audition for him. I am showing up in my authentic self, whatever that is. And listen, when the stakes are higher, when we're actually talking to someone who we feel like is really the type of person we want, it feels like the stakes are really high. But what I've had to do for myself is take him off the pedestal, remember that this is my experience as well, and that I am the chooser. I choose myself first. As long as I am choosing myself first and I am having the experience that I want to have, this is a win-win situation. There is no win-lose situation. So whether I get the guy or not, it doesn't really matter. Not being outcome focused, being more focused on, am I enjoying the experience when I'm with him? How does he treat me when I'm not in his space? Does it feel good to me? Does it feel like this is a place where I can grow with him? Is this a person who I can talk to about things that are going on in my life? And I am actually assessing being the chooser. I think so many times in my life I've been the one who has been chosen, like where men are choosing me. And I was just going off of the men who were choosing me and choosing from those men. And this is the first time in my life where I'm actually deciding, no, I'm actually deciding I am the chooser and I get to choose the type of men that I want to date. And it may be him and it may not be him. But ultimately, when triggers show up, this is an opportunity for us to clean up what's going on the inside of us. And when I really looked at it, I looked at the root issue from my childhood that comes back to, am I worthy of being taken care of? Now, this is on a subconscious level. This is not something I'm going around thinking every day about my worthiness or if I am worthy of having like this caliber of man. No, but this is something that is very deep rooted and deep seated, which is why it's so important that we do our work, that I'm not bringing that into a relationship with this man and I'm not dumping that on him. I'm working on that on the inside of myself first, cleaning that out. Whether it's him or not is not about him. He could be anybody, Joe Schmo, don't matter. I know I don't want it on the inside of Mikki Bey. I share these stories because I know that I'm not the only one who has experienced this when you're in the dating process. And there's an opportunity for you to use your triggers as growth. So this becomes a win-win and not a win-lose situation when you are in dating. So if this has been helpful for you, check the show notes. I have an emotional regulation bundle that will help you through these types of things. And as always, I am here for you, for your calm, for you to understand yourself and to get to know that your emotional triggers are your responsibility and you can feel good as much as you put the effort in to enjoy your internal environment. I'll see you next time. Download my free emotional regulation bundle. It includes my ebook, workbook, and a masterclass to help you start regulating with confidence.